So if anybody asks you, what lens is Channel One and City using to cover the election? Information, interactive, insightful. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard Avle there. When he mentioned the three eyes, my mind didn't go to the alphabet, so I was looking for a cyclops or something with some three eyes or something. But it's good. I mean, informative is also going to be interactive. And of course, we're going to bring you up to speed, real-time information, real-time updates. And you'd want to log on to ChannelOneNews.com and CityNewsroom.com for all of this verifiable and of course verified information. You're watching the launch of Channel One Television and 97.3 City FM's coverage for election 2024. We'll take a break here. When we come back, my colleague Enu Safo will sit with the Electoral Commission and CODEO for a panel discussion. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is your Election Bureau, your timely coverage of the 2024 elections here in Ghana. Now, at this point, we're going to have a panel discussion on the preparedness of stakeholders involved in getting us to the 2024 elections on December 7th. And joining me on this panel is the Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Asari. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing? And the National Coordinator of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO for short, Albert Ahin.
Thank you very much.
And normally he'd be sitting here doing the interviews, my own General Manager of Channel One TV and City FM, Bernard Avle. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for this discussion. I think this question cuts across, but let's start with the EC. What is the preparedness of the Electoral Commission towards the December 7th election?
Thank you for this opportunity. As we speak now, the EC is fully and absolutely ready for the December 7th general elections. And I'm saying that because for this particular elections, we are going to need about 200,000 people to be working as the presiding officers, name reference officers, working as ballot issuers, and we've been able to recruit all of them. Beyond that, we've concluded our exhibition exercise, and we are in the process of finalizing the voters register. As soon as that is completed, the commission will ensure that the voters register is also printed. After that, we also have what we call the nomination, which we started yesterday. And as we speak now, yesterday at the presidential level, 8 political parties and independent candidates have filed. The process will end by Friday. After that, we are going to do what we call balloting for positions. When that one is concluded, we will end up printing the notice of poll, then we'll get to the printing of the ballot papers. So as the institution in charge of this election, we are fully ready come December 7th, 2024.
All right. And Mr. Ahin, let's talk about how prepared CODEO is for the general election. How do you assess, your readiness?
Yes, we have already started the preparation when we started observing the registration exercise. We've done the observation of the registration exercise. We have done the exhibition, observation. And we are now getting our people prepared. The regional coordinators, the constituency coordinators are all being briefed. We called them to Accra about a week ago, trying to sound to them that the time is up for them to get ready. So we are going to do training for them to go and recruit the observers. We're going to use about 4,000 observers this coming election. And then again, we are also preparing the grounds for our PVT, which we normally do. By PVT, I'm talking about the power vote tabulation, which we use to determine the winner of the election, even before the Electoral Commission comes out to declare the winner. So all these things are being put in place. And in the coming weeks, we are going to train everybody who is going to get involved in this exercise. So that's what we are doing now.
All right. Mr. Avle, same question, but how is Channel One TV and City FM preparing for the December 7th election?
Well, I mean, all we've been doing is telling you we are ready, right? But as you know, there are a few other things. So we cover the EC. So all that happened yesterday and throughout the day, the EC have given us access. So the media is in the room and all the interactions are done in the open. So yesterday you saw all of that. We are also with the political parties. So all their campaigns, some of them are even doing live events. So we are with the commission, we are with the parties, and then we are also on the ground. So as you saw, the program Philip is hosting, the program that Sami is hosting as well. So we've divided ourselves into three. 1/3 is with the commission, 1/3 is with the parties, the other is with the people, because those are the three that make the coverage. So we are ready, and of course we're working on the data as well to make sure that we understand historically what is happening. So that's how we're getting ready.
All right. Mr. Bossman, how different will the 2020 elections be to the 2024 elections in terms of transmission of results?
Now, in terms of transmission of results, as an institution, when you look at the law, currently the law regulating elections has to do with CI 127. And that document is a purely manual document. So by law, what the Electoral Commission is supposed to do is that after the voting is ended at the polling station, we do counting at the polling station. After the counting at the polling station, all the polling station results in each constituency will now go to the constituency collation center. And this is a manual process. So at that particular constituency level, all the polling stations in that constituency, a place like Ewutu Senya West will have maybe about 180 polling stations. Ewutu Senya East, maybe about 250. So individually, we are going to put everything together, what we call collation. And this is a manual exercise. From the constituency level, if it's a parliamentary election, the process will be consummated at the constituency level for the returning officer to declare the winner of that election in that particular constituency. But if it's the presidential election, the returning officer, after putting everything together, will now forward the constituency presidential results to the regional level. At the regional level, we have somebody we have designated the regional collation officer. The job of the regional collation officer, so for example, central region, we are dealing with about 23 constituencies. So the job of the regional collation officer in the central region is to put the individual presidential results. And this is a manual process. Any electronic procedure being adopted is in the form of a parallel exercise. But by law, according to CI 127, everything is manual. So from the regional level, by law, all the results will now be sent to the national head office, which is the National Collation Center. So at the National Collation Center, we are going to put together 16 presidential results from the 16 regions. And the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who is the returning officer of the presidential election, will now have the mandate to put everything together, then declare the winner of the presidential election. But in terms of difference, there is no significant difference. It's basically the same procedure. Because the same CI 127 was used for the 2020 elections. But if there is any difference, it's largely in terms of the number of polling stations. In 2020, we work with 38,622 polling stations. Now we are almost around 40,653. So certainly the number of polling stations are going to increase. And it's not because as a commission we've increased the polling station, but the numbers have increased at certain places. And we are using a threshold of 750. So any polling station with more than 750 people automatically will be divided. So if your polling station was, let's say, Anglican School A, now that the number has increased by more than 750, that place will be divided. So it will now become Anglican School A and Anglican School B. And usually all the two will be located at the same area. And we normally use the alphabetical listings of our names. So we'll say A to E, you are polling station A. So it's done in such a way that no one will be disenfranchised on election day.
Right. And how long will it take for declaration of results?
Oh, as an institution, you know, in 2020, what happened was that because the commission said we were going to declare the results in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Some of the political parties deliberately, they requested for counting, additional counting, over counting, etc. Let me put it that way. Well, they know the law allows. Oh, and you could clearly see that this was a device to prevent the EC from meeting what the EC has promised the Ghanaian people.
Right.
So now we are not going to announce. But we know that by convention, within 72 hours, we should be able to come up with the results. But as an institution, we also recognize that when the process is almost completed and you are not announcing or declaring, it brings a lot of anxiety in the system. But we will also want to make sure that we have everything right before we go out there and declare.
Okay. I want you to catch your breath. I'll come back to you in the discrepancies with the electoral roll. But Mr. Ahin, tell us, I'm sure you've done your own research as election observers. Have you identified any flashpoints, any hotspots that we should be looking out for?
Yes. What we normally classify as a hotspot is, for example, a police station where there's always a fight.
Yeah.
Breaking out every time, where the people are known to be rowdy. Every time there's an election, you will always find that it will not end properly. Either there will be a break, they will resume, and so forth and so on. So such places are termed as, trouble spots, and it's all over the country. So when, for example, we want to send people to the field to observe, we include some of these spots, the hot spots. And the police also identify all these places throughout the country. And so they beef up security anytime there's an election. And we also make sure that we send people to observe in these areas where there's always a problem.
Okay. So, for instance, Techiman South in 2020 was a hotspot. I think leading to the death of 2 and 6 others were injured. Yeah. What is CODEO doing specifically to prevent such a thing happening again before, during, and after the election?
Yes, CODEO cannot, in a way, be involved in preventing some of these things.
Right.
All we can do is to appeal to the Peace Council, for example.
Okay.
When we identify an area which is a trouble place or a trouble spot, then we would inform the Peace Council that, in our estimation, this place is with care. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Bossman, some political parties now, they have raised concerns with the provisional voters register, including illegal vote transfers and the accuracy of the registration figures. What measures has the EC instituted to ensure that they are addressed in good time?
I think in terms of, you started with the illegal transfers. The Commission has gotten to the bottom of the matter. And as you may be aware, the district officer specifically was suspended. And what the Commission has stated very clearly is that any discrepancy we find in the register, for example, if someone has been transferred without the person's consent, the Commission will ensure that that one is restored. In terms of also the discrepancies with the register, what the Commission has made it very clear openly is that as an institution, the law allows us to do what we call exhibition of the voters register. And the idea undergirding the exhibition of the voters register, which the law itself anticipates, is that when people register, there could be several factors. You will believe that I told them, oh, I wanted to vote at this polling station. But by the time you realize they put you in a different polling station. Now, recently, the registration we did, most of the registrations were conducted at the district offices. Yeah. The onus was on the voter or the applicant to say, I stay near Tesano, near where the ChannelOne TV is. So the job of the registration officer is to put you in the polling station near that particular place. But you have an instance where that same person will be put in a different polling station. At times too, we've had instances where people who went there to register, they are males, but the system will indicate they are females. So what the exhibition does is to display the register so that everyone who registered just go back and check whether your details are intact. So all the discrepancies people are saying they've identified with the register, we as Electoral Commission, they were the things we were anticipating, that this information should come out so that we take advantage of that. Because the law is very clear, CI 91, Regulation 22, it talks about all these processes, 22, 23. When you display it, people will come out and say, oh, my name is supposed to be here. And you know, human beings are working on it. And those who work in technology will tell you, no IT system is 100% excellent. So we do these things. That's why we always encourage people, make sure you go and check your name. Either you go to the exhibition center or check via the electronic system. Once those things are done, we will ensure we'll correct the register. And you know, come December 7, 2024, the Electoral Commission is fully committed. We are very sure that we are going to get a register that is very robust, that is very, very credible. Anyone who registered as a voter will definitely see his or her name intact, and the person will be able to vote. In 2020, we used the same procedure to be able to address the discrepancies. So we are not doing anything so different. So all the things people are talking about, they are things as a commission we were anticipating that they will come out.
Okay. Bernard, let me come to you. You've been quiet for too long. How is the media helpful to voters during this time especially? And what is the role of the media during election coverage, especially we here at ChannelOne TV and City FM?
Thank you. And so generally, the election's fairness and credibility is not just what happens on voting day, but the pre-election is important. So it's important to, for example, highlight the concerns of voters in the build-up to the election, and we do that quite well. We also have a role to educate the voters. So, for example, every serious journalist needs to read CI 137 to understand how it works. The explanation he gave about the difference between, for example, the 38,600 and the 42,000 must be properly explained, because a lot of times people agitate because they don't understand. So the CI has not changed the polling station. It's basically simply said, we are doing queue management. So it's our job to explain to people, sometimes show them how these things work. You can even simulate the voting process for people to see that, look, this is where you go. And I'm sure as the election draws closer, the EC itself will do this. You go, you join the queue, you pick your ballot, you show your, all these things have to be done for, because the more, sunlight is the best disinfectant. The more transparent you are, the more credible the process is. So our job is to ventilate the process by letting people understand what happens. And of course, on voting day as well, we have to send as many people out as we can. But no media house can send out 42,000 people. So we have to collaborate and work together, right? Because 42,000 polling stations, the PVT system makes sense. We're hoping the EC will have a system where, like we saw in Nigeria, there's a place, not a strong room, a place where, despite our own coverage, we have the EC in a big hall, all of us are sat there, and they'll come and say, okay, this is like the situation room. We have heard that there's something happening in this constituency. This is what is the latest update. We all cover it live. Right. In announcing the results as well, it will be useful for these returning officers for the regions, if possible, for them to have all the media houses in the same place so that there's uniformity. Because the problem with election coverage is confusion and lies. And the way to do it is for all of us to be following. As he said, it's a manual process. If we are covering live the counting in the Western Region Coalition Center and it's on TV, and they write 205, and we all shout 205. If they are 205 to 205, it's 410. Nobody can cheat you. Yeah. So I think that the media should be seen as an integral part of the process. You don't do everything and just come and sit and tell us what you've done. That's where you have a problem. Because our cameras are people trust us. Right. So if you are doing a manual tabulation and you are able to make it happen live, or it's recorded for all of us to see, then nobody can question it. So I really want to urge the EC and the CODEO to find a place to make the media as key partners in the dissemination process, not just the platform to come and announce what you've done, because nobody knows what you are doing. So I think that is what because we do our own tabulation as well, right? But we feel like the stakes are so high, it makes more sense for all of us to follow the process, because that's a question of addition, right? So, and luckily, the EC have a new large facility. In the past, they were in some corner somewhere that we all couldn't fit. But now they have large halls. So it should be possible to fit 20 media houses there, live cameras, big screens. We are all in the EC situation room. CODEO is doing their PVT. We're also at CODEO doing their PVT with them. The election result will be announced and there will be no noise because we've all seen it clearly. This is what I'm urging the stakeholders to do. And we as ChannelOne and City have been doing this since 2004, and we are willing to play a role in that. So that's what I'm going to say in response to you.
All right. Final question to you, Mr. Bossman. What is the pledge or assurance from the Electoral Commission for this December 7th election?
In terms of pledge of assurance, if I will say something, let me put it that the Electoral Commission, we have a very clear mandate. In Ghana, we are the only institution supposed to do the work we are doing. And we recognize that in our sub-region, in Africa, we are always a reference point. There is a theory we call lesson drawing. Many countries around the continent come to us. And everywhere we go, they're always cited. So the recognition we get outside is even more than we get in our part of the world. Because when you look at the processes we've deployed, one thing I should have said, which I didn't say, this year, for example, one of the things we've done, which is very good, is that for every constituency, we are appointing someone as a collation officer. Okay. Then we're also going to appoint somebody to support at the regional level. We did the advert about 3-4 weeks ago in the newspapers. We said the background should somebody with a background in mathematics, in statistics, in accounting, or a related field. Because we've noticed that our returning officers and our technicians, usually 2 days to the elections, they will be working. And these are the same people who must do the collation. So let's have someone who will come there fresh to come and support. So to continue with the pledge, the commission is fully committed. Our reputation is on the line. We know many people. Mr. Avle and I used to be in LPU together. He used to be my Sunday school teacher. We've known each other for many, many years. So I will find it very, very strange for him to hear that I got an opportunity to do something for my country and I didn't do it right. Our reputations are on the line. We have family members, we have friends like everyone else. When I used to be at Legon, every year I'll be teaching over 2,000 students. So I know many people, and I think all these people will be counting on me that the great work I did whilst I was teaching at the University of Ghana, I should be able to replicate that. And the commission is fully committed. And the noise we hear, we know that we will do a good thing. And we know the good Lord out there will also ensure that he blesses the work of our hands. So we know come December 7th, everything will be very, very peaceful. The processes I outlined. We only need the parties to have their agents at the polling stations. And when the counting is done, everything will be done cleanly and clearly. So the commission will make sure that we deliver another successful elections.
Thank you. Mr. Ahen, for CODEO, what would determine that this election is free and fair?
Yes, we go in there to make sure that the election is free, fair, and then incontrovertible.
Right.
So we go with our checklist, and then we would want to find out, for example, the preparedness of the EC for that particular election. Whether the items that are supplied at the police station are sufficient quantities. Whether the EC actually trained their people well. Whether the ballot boxes are shown to the people, for example, before they started doing all this. All we are trying to say is that we want to check to see whether the rules governing the elections are being interpreted properly at every stage of the process. So that is what we do. So we do that in the morning when the poll starts. In the afternoon, we do it. And when the counting is done, we also want to be there to make sure that everything is done and done according to the rules of the game. So we basically go there to make sure that the EC is fair to everybody. Everything is inclusive. All parties are involved in whatever they do. You see, and at the same time too, we want to make sure that the results come clean so that the incontrovertible thing I told you about will not be there. Not only that, even after the election, we would want to still go around and find out what is happening. Sometimes when results are released, you find that people are not too happy and there will be a lot of controversies here and there. We would also want to monitor it. You see, so my appeal maybe to the police, for example, is that, and it's something that I really hold dearly to. Whenever there's an election, there's a problem. For example, people go to leave ballot boxes, they are running away with them. Where there's a riot and they happen to catch some people, let us try as a nation to punish the wrongdoers.
Right.
We have not been punishing people, and that is why most of the time we have these problems or issues being repeated. It's such that the impunity is so much. You see, in Techiman, people died.
Yes.
Till date, we have not prosecuted anybody.
Right.
You see, so we are going again. What is going to happen? People are going to say that, okay, when we did it the last time, we were not punished, so maybe they'll be emboldened and to do it again.
Right.
So I'm appealing to the police to be very, very solid in the way they do it at the police station.
Right.
Not to beat people or to actually, but when culprits, when people are apprehended, they should be prosecuted.
All right.
To serve as a deterrent to other ones who will follow in future.
All right.
And again, to you, the
Media.
The media.
the results are to be declared by the EC. So there's no point, sometimes you hear parties even saying that we have won in advance or something. That's a it is not necessary. Let the EC come out to declare results. And let me tell you, CODEO normally gets the results about 2 days before the EC comes out. But we never tell anybody. Through the PVT, we're able to know who had won the election. But we swear and we keep it to ourselves.
All right.
We never tell anybody in this country until the EC comes out to announce their results. So maybe the
Media.
Maybe I need to join CODEO.
The media. Yeah.
Ben, any
I'll
final
join
words?
CODEO, then I'll resign on the day they release. But look, it's 3 eyes, right? We're going to be informative, we're going to be interactive, and we're going to be insightful. Follow us on ChannelOneNews.com and also on CityNewsroom.com. And it's going to be a very, very exciting election for the viewers of Channel One and for listeners of City FM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me for this panel discussion. This is definitely your election bureau with the hashtag Ghana Polls 2024. My name is Inusafo.